This is Bumper to Bumper, the car show. Drive in anxious and cruise out confident. With the best automotive information for your vehicle. And now your hosts, Matt Allen and Dave Riccio.
Well, good morning, everyone, and welcome to Bumper Radio. I am Dave Riccio, here along with Matt Allen, and together we are your KTAR car guys, heard here every Saturday from 11 to noon. At Bumper to Bumper Radio, we are helping you, the motoring public, have a better overall car experience. If you got car questions, we've got answers, so we encourage you to give us a call at 602-277-5827. 602-277-KTAR. And if you're the shy type, you can get a hold of us at 411-923. And today on the Bumper to Bumper Roadmap, a little bit of fact or fiction, one from the past. See if Matt remembers the right answer. We got open phones, of course, and taking your text. In catastrophic failures, I don't know about you, Matt, but this is the time of year where my shop parking lot has tow trucks showing up, because things are breaking, and people don't realize that our business in June, July, is at a different pace than it is in October or March.
Yeah, I could go with that.
It gets real busy because the torture of the 110-degree days is not easy on the car.
We always say that we're busier in the summer, but I don't think we're any busier. If you go back and look at the reports, it's usually the same number of cars, and maybe if you want to measure by dollar volume, it's about the same amount. But, man, the activity level sure picks up in the shop. You're right. Tow trucks are coming. People are hot, and they're stressed out. And a lot of these people that we see, you know who I never see hot and stressed out? My regular customer that we see without question every 4 months.
Because they just come and see you. It's not reactive auto repair, it's proactive auto repair.
Exactly. So when we're hot and we're sweaty and when we're frustrated, it's usually because we're on the side of the road or we just got out of the tow truck and we're late for where we wanted to be. And it could be a catastrophic failure or it could be something simple. But from a catastrophic standpoint, there's a lot of these things when now if you sit someone down and man, you feel bad doing it sometimes. And if I was the parent or whatever, I don't want to just beat you up and tell you, this is your fault. You could have avoided this. Remember the light we told you about. It's not too uncommon for someone to come in and they say, gosh, the car just quit running on the freeway. And I said, okay, well, let's talk about that. Well, it was just making this loud noise for like the last 17 miles. and so you can avoid these things. We've got to be in tune with the smell. I mean, our car is talking to us. You got to listen.
Oh, it smells. The sweet smell is not good this time of year. Not good at all.
We got lights. I mean, these are things that we need to pay attention to and be in tune with, and we can avoid that. Let's go through some of them.
Let's talk about lights, for instance. People are familiar with that little yellow light that looks like an engine, or maybe they don't know that looks like an engine, but that's supposed to be the outline of an engine. But that thing, I get cars come in all the time, and that thing is on. And I ask the people, I say, your check engine light is on. Oh, yeah, it's just some emissions thing. Just some emissions thing. And they just, they don't worry about it. I say, hey, your car.
And they have a Greenpeace sticker on the back, too.
I've seen black tape over that check engine light. People are so used to ignoring that light. And it is one of those lights, you can't ignore it forever. Something needs to be done. It's telling you there is trouble on the horizon or something needs to be addressed. The problem with that light is it does not discriminate. It comes on for 263 different reasons. And if you think it's on for just emissions, what if it came on for this and that and the other, and you still think it's just for emissions? So I had a car the other day where the lady, I'm driving with her on the freeway, and I'm driving and I'm going, catalytic converter's plugged up. I'm not telling her this, but this is what I'm thinking in my mind. I said,
you're diagnosing in your brain.
In my brain, what's going on? I can't get this engine to rub past 4,000 RPMs. I mean, it's plugged up. It's like breathing through a coffee straw. This thing is not working. And I said, why is the check engine light on? She said, oh, it's just a catalytic converter thing. I don't need to fix that. And I'm thinking, the catalytic converter's plugged up. Dave, I think it'd be like
pooping through a coffee straw.
It is true. It is true, and I thought about that when I said that. But a coffee straw, either way, in or out, not good.
I just had to try and throw you off a little bit. But the check engine light,
it's not an emergency light.
Exactly.
If it's flashing, sometimes they flash. That's different. That's a different story. You got a pretty significant misfire.
And I'm talking catastrophic and expensive, and sometimes they're one and the same, and sometimes they're not. The check engine light could be an expensive repair, like your catalytic converter issue. It may or may not leave you broken down. I think most of the time a check engine light's not going to break it down. Check engine light's bad when it's flashing because that means, hey, there's something wrong.
It's really unhappy.
Really what it means is it's misfiring, and we don't want to ruin that expensive converter. So that's one of the fail-safes there. But what are the light? It's the red light. Yellow is caution. Green is go. We don't see very many green lights on the dash. Maybe the turn signal.
Well, there's a reason that brake light is yellow. That the brake light that you see come on the dash. It's not yellow. It's red. I mean, it's really important to have brakes.
Or the low oil pressure light switch is red because red is bad for no oil pressure. Or the other one that red light that looked kind of like a radiator or some waves with a flag in it, like a buoy. I mean, it was on for like 30 minutes, and then it just. That's one of the ones that we're going to see this time of year that we can't ignore. That red light on the dash means the car is hot. This thing is one of those red lights, but the one I'm talking about, the radar. The car is hot. It's outside of its comfort zone. It's not operating in the range of temperature that it wants to be. It's out of that range.
And that's when it gets expensive if you ignore it. I mean, you can take. Let's just say, for instance, radiator cracked, tank cracked, and you lost coolant, and now it's overheating. Okay, a radiator repair in itself it's not comfortably expensive. $500, right? But it's not $2,000 if you ignore it. It could be $2,000. It could be $2,500. I don't know what kind of car you drive. Some cars are even more expensive than that if you ignore that red light. So we want to avoid that situation.
Yeah, I mean, we could burn up a head gasket. We could burn up. I mean, you could really ruin an engine. You could a hot situation.
I have two of them in my
bearings. You can make it fix. You can do a catastrophic failure that's fixable, which we can fix that patient, that module, that engine that's still in the car. And then you have the catastrophic failure where you just destroy the thing. We can't. But I can tell you one thing. I do it sometimes. I might walk out to the car to check on something after the customer's already left. Maybe I want to go see what size the engine is and get some information into the computer system in advance for the technician. Or maybe you go out to the customer to see something that they're talking about. And it happens a lot. I'll walk up and you can just know. It's like the car that you hear next to you at the stoplight. You know it's got brakes and it's grinding and
it's
whatever.
It's actually a curse when you're in the automotive business.
Right. But what I'm saying is that smell, that's just something that we know, and I bet the consumers, they know it, but they don't know what it is. They know it's something different, and that's what you've got to be into, because I guarantee you that catastrophic radiator failure that resulted in a blown head gasket, that probably started with a little bit of a whiff of coolant, and that coolant is kind of like hot, maybe maple syrup burnt a little bit. It's got something sweet smell to it, but you can't really identify it. That's when you don't have to know what it is to say something's not normal, I guess, right?
I had a car come to my shop the other day, and we put a clutch in it. And so we put a clutch in it. That worked out. We go on 3 different test drives, 3 different technicians, and it's backing out of the first bay, the last bay they checked it out, and it goes by, and I go, it's got a coolant leak. And, so I asked the technician, I said, it's got a coolant leak. He said, yeah, there's a little bit of green crust, starting to show up around the radiator, and I noted it, and we'll talk to the customer about it. But, you can pick it up just by smelling it.
But that's funny. Your technicians are probably like some of mine. They don't like me because, they're done with the car, and I walk by, and I'm like, did you check? What do you mean? It's like, hey, man,
we have magic vision and magic senses. We know when things are going. Or that goes by, you're like, hey, did we talk to them about the valve cover leaking? How do you know the valve cover's leaking? Because I can smell it burning on the manifold.
Yeah, there's some sort of oil leak. I mean, if you go to a restaurant and it smells like rotten food, you're probably not going to want to eat there. I mean, when you open your refrigerator, you may not know that's a rotten ham in there or whatever, but you know something's not right. So same thing with your car.
If your car stinks, take it to the shop.
It's talking to you. It can't come out and say, Sally or Frank or Bob, don't abuse me. I need some help. It's talking to you by putting out an odor, by turning on a light.
Something stink. We got to do something about something.
Yeah.
But back to the lights, and I get this. When I have 2, I call them dead soldiers in my parking lot right now. 2 people that burned up the engine because they overheated it, and both had cracked radiator tanks. And it's always the same story. Well, I saw the light come on, and, went a few more exits, before I finally got off the road. And a few more exits is enough exits to make it happen. So you just, get yourself to a safe place. That's first and foremost. You're worth more than a $2,000 repair. But, you don't want to push it. Don't say, I can probably, H does not stand for hurry. It doesn't stand for hurry.
It's hot. It's burning down here. Now, there's some lights you can ignore, and maybe you should ask your mechanic which light you can ignore. You could probably, I'm not going to tell somebody this in Santa Fe or someone in Seattle. Could you ignore your traction control light? Probably, for a little while.
It's not the end of the world.
But that's the whole thing, is when you start ignoring things, then all of a sudden you've got this accumulation of all this stuff. Then it's the door ding you ignored, and it's the motor mount we talked about last week that you ignored, and then it's whatever. Now you have this jalopy. But I know one thing you can't ignore in the summertime here is your battery.
Well, we did talk about tow trucks and catastrophic failures, but how many of those tow trucks that show up to your shop are dead batteries?
Yeah.
And you were telling me about the lady in your shop the other day, and she had to get a jump to get to your shop, and you checked it out, and you said, "Hey, the battery's bad," and she said, "It's only 4 years old."
It's only 4 years old, and you may not know it, but the average battery in Arizona, at least your original equipment battery, they last about 30 months, and you can't ignore this. So it's one thing that you want to get in. You want to get checked out in Interstate Batteries. They're a battery that is carried in a lot of the bumper-to-bumper radio shops. You ask any mechanic at any shop anywhere in the United States, what brand of battery is a good battery? And the first thing that's going to come to mind is Interstate Batteries. It's the #1 replacement brand.
Every shop I've ever worked at carried Interstate, and not all batteries are created equal. So the things last, it's a battery, you may be getting a battery at every 30 months, but you want a good battery, so you're not getting one at 6 months. How many times have you seen a car with a cheap battery gone at 6 months?
True. And a lot. And the other thing, too, is when you have your battery replaced, maybe under warranty at the dealer, maybe that's not the best thing to do. Their only obligation is to get you to 3 years at 36,000 miles. And so get a good battery. Check out interstatebatteries.com, and you can find them at bumpertobumperradio.com as well.
So when we come back, we're taking your phone calls at 602-277-5827. You're listening to Matt and Dave, your KTAR car guys, on Bumper to Bumper Radio.
It sounds like they've just had the accurate automotive experience. We're family owned and operated and have served the Mesa, Tempe, Gilbert communities for over 22 years. We focus on building long-lasting relationships and, listening to you so that we can understand, meet, and exceed your expectations. One location, 14 bays, 88 years of automotive expertise, and a passionate commitment to customer service and excellence. My name is Lee Weatherby, and I approve this message because it's true. We love what we do, and we want to do it for you. Accurate Automotive, the home of friends serving friends.
Trust. It's hard to earn and sometimes even harder to find. If you live or work in downtown Phoenix, Matt Allen's Virginia Auto Service is celebrating over 20 years of award-winning service at the corner of 7th Street and Virginia. Recognized as one of the best service shops in the country, their customers have come to trust Virginia Auto Service for its A+ rating by the BBB, 2-year 24,000-mile warranties, and free transportation to and from your home or office. 20+ years of earning your trust. Virginia Auto Service. They're serious about service.
Fix it or forget it. This is the show that'll help you decide what to do with your car. Bumper to Bumper Radio. KTAR News on 92.3 FM.
Well, welcome back to Bumper Radio. I am Dave Riccio, here along with my sometimes friend Matt Allen, and we are helping you fix your car, know how to get your car in and get it fixed. If you got car questions or car problems, we encourage you to give us a call at 602-277-5827, 602-277-KTAR. And we are going to go with a caller from Phoenix. It looks like Joel, on a 1999 Ford Ranger pickup. How can we help you, Joel? You're on Bumper to Bumper Radio.
Yeah, guys, I know I need to replace the fuel pump in the truck. I took it into a shop. They, ran the diagnostics. It's 20 pounds of fuel pressure at the rail. So, and that's their first suggestion. And I'm a shade tree mechanic, can do a lot of the work myself. My concern is I called the dealership to get a price on a fuel pump. They do not sell fuel pumps, discontinued by Ford, that I had to go aftermarket. So I mostly wanted to know aftermarket fuel pump. What is a good brand of an aftermarket fuel pump? I don't want to buy one and then have to do it again in 6 months I'm mostly looking to see what brand of fuel pump should I buy for it.
Well, I mean, one of the most popular aftermarket brands is AirTex. But probably what I would do, I mean, you can find them at any of the bigger box stores. I would say your local, I mean, your nationwide retailers. Maybe, gosh, I'm really not even answering this right. It's not going the way I want it to. Go to Napa. Go to Napa Auto Parts and go in and tell them you want to take your VIN number. It's going to make them easiest to find out everything about the car. So always take your VIN number when you're sourcing parts. Go to Napa and say, what is your selection of fuel pumps? They're going to have a gamut. I mean, they're going to have 5 or 6 different ones.
Pick your poison.
They're going to have some that are maybe kind of universal, and it might have a little wiring harness that comes with it that you've got to cut and add into yours. A lot of these fuel pumps come with a new wiring harness anyway, because the harness is the problem if you've got to trim and do some shrink tubing and whatnot on there. They might have a Carter brand, which may not be the best brand, or they might have Delphi, which is a good one. The more expensive one is going to be the better one.
Generally, as a rule of thumb. But people don't realize it when you get your car fixed at the auto shop. They don't realize that we have like 10 choices of the part to buy for the car. So I've got the whole gamut. I've got 10 fuel pumps to choose. That's why I say, this price shop XYZ over here wanted, $600, and, this one wants $500. What's the difference?
Well, yeah. I mean,
there's easily a swing of $100 in that.
Oh, easily. The same with the warranty. And don't get hung up just because it has a lifetime warranty. Well, you still, and it might be cheaper, but hey, it's got a lifetime warranty. You still have to repeat all that labor over again if that less expensive part fails.
Remember Tommy Boy? He said, if you want me to take a dump in a box and mark warranty it, I can. But I'd rather you give a good quality part.
I'm surprised you don't have that.
I looked down and I don't have that potted up.
You don't have it queued up. But so go to Napa. That'll be your first deal. And then one other tip on that. Sometimes if you're going to do it yourself, the way to do that sometimes is to drop the fuel tank out. But the other trick, you can unbolt the 4 bed bolts, maybe undo the fuel filler. Not maybe, you have to undo the fuel filler, unplug the taillights, get 2 of your buddies. You can lift the bed off the truck or set it back, get it out of the way, instead of laying on the ground and getting all that dirt in your face.
And remember not to smoke cigarettes while you're doing that job. Thanks for the call, Joel, 602-277-5827. Let's go to Dustin in Mesa on a 07 Toyota Prius. How can we help you, Dustin? You're on Bumper to Bumper Radio.
Hey, guys, got a weird one for you. I've had this Prius for a couple of years now. I called in, it was about a year and a half ago when I first got it, but now I'm having different issues with it. But anyways, when I turn the car off, the car shuts off normally. I just press the power button, right? And then mysteriously, the car will turn back on fully, engine and everything. I don't touch anything. It'll automatically turn back on. I think either something's wrong. This is my opinion. Either something's wrong with the computer, or there's a poltergeist in my car. So,
well, I can guarantee you one thing: there's something wrong. Right?
Well, there is. We don't list them on bumpertobumperradio.com. I mean, we got good shops there, but we don't have any exorcist specialists there. But, if you're looking for that, you're going to have to do a little more research than Bumper to Bumper Radio. But, off the top of my head, I know Matt's over there trying to toggle it on his little information thing to see if anything rings a bell or there's a pattern failure. But we do have a shop at bumpertobumperradio.com called GoodWorks Auto Repair, and they're a hybrid shop, hybrid specialist. And a lot of the shops at Bumper to Bumper Radio can work on hybrids. I know Joel at Arizona Imports, he does a lot of hybrid work. We're doing a transmission on a hybrid right now, but it doesn't sound like something that's going to be overly complicated. How often does that happen? Is that something?
It happens, I'll say out of 10 times, maybe it happens 2 out of 10.
2 out of 10. So that's.
And then another thing that's been happening too is I've been losing all of my settings, my MPGs, my trip miles. That's been resetting like at least once a month.
Well, I'm going to be looking at something, Dave, and it really needs to get into a shop, and we could
speculate all day long,
throw spaghetti at the wall all day, but it needs to get into a shop that can do some testing, that has a scan tool, that can see if there's any fault codes. I mean, remember, there's not just the computer for the check engine light. Every single system on these modern cars is controlled with a computer. You can have all kinds of different fault codes in a security system. I'm thinking something like an ignition switch or something like that, but it's something that's it's got to be tested. Somebody has to duplicate the problem first and foremost, and then be able to figure out what it is.
All right. Thanks for the call. We're going to go with Kevin in Peoria on a 1994 Ford Explorer. How can we help you, Kevin? You're on Bumper to Bumper Radio.
Hey, guys. How you doing?
Great.
Fantastic.
I got it. Me and my dad are trying to replace a fan clutch on the car, and we can't get the bolt to break loose because of the pulley. And what we were wondering is maybe you guys might have a trick, a way we can do that
I
without
do have
spending $1 million on the tools.
I do have a great trick, and if you read on the radiator shroud, it's going to say that those threads are left-handed threads, and they're backwards on the fan clutch.
Right, reverse
and I
thread.
watch reverse thread, so I watch everybody turn it the wrong way, and they can never get that thing loose.
Right.
So make sure you're going the right direction on that. But in the shop, when we got one that's, we hit it with an air chisel. Sometimes is a good way to get them off. But
you really have to have the tool or some way
Chain wrench.
to chain wrench or lock it down. Do it with the belt still on the car. That's one mistake people will do. They'll take the belt off first and then be in there.
Yeah,
having the belt on there with some tension is going to give some extra resistance. But you know what? AutoZone, Napa, O'Reilly, that's one of those tools that they'll rent. A lot of them have these loaner tool programs, and that's not such a tool that is so specialized that
it's a common problem.
it's got to be rented.
But
that can't be rented.
I had a neighbor that was fighting one, and it happened to be on a Ford Ranger, and I walked over there, and he was doing that, and he had rented one of those tools, chain wrench, and I said, right there on the shroud, backwards threads on the water pump.
Well, let's think about this. Here we go, 1994, 21 years ago, I think that was, if my math is working right. He's got to have a special tool. There's 21 model years of cars in there. I don't know how many different makes and how many different varieties. Can you imagine? I mean, I can imagine. I know you know, Dave. But to the average consumer, the plethora, the number of specialized tools that we as shop owners have to have, and the mechanics are the ones that buy these tools. If the tool fits in their toolbox, they're the ones buying it. So one nice thing when you're looking in shops is all those red Snap-on toolboxes. When you see lots of those, you got a pretty well-equipped shop.
Matt's got a guy at his shop that's got a toolbox so big, it's bigger than my house. He's got a complex.
It's
You'll
more
be right
expensive
back.
than some, too.
You listen to Bumper Radio.
Do you love your hybrid? Yep, we did too. Hi, my name is Brian. We bought our Prius to help with my wife's long commute back and forth to work. We love the get up and go and the fuel economy. But 8 years later, our MPG was eroding and the zip was gone. We tried everything from tune-ups to new tires. The dealership's answer was that's just the way it goes with hybrids, and that we were probably looking at a new battery at the cost of $4,000 to $6,000. Sound familiar? We were lost. Then we found the hybrid shop at Good Works Auto Repair. They were able to condition our battery to like new for a fraction of the cost. The Zip and the 40 Plus MPG is back. We're in love again with our Prius and the hybrid shop at Good Works Auto Repair.
Thanks for the kind words, Brian. Hi, Glenn Hayward for the Hybrid Shop at Good Works Auto Repair. Fall in love again with your hybrid. For details, go to goodworksautorepair.com.
Ever wonder how the people that built those old castles kept the rain out? I don't think they did. But let's face it, your home is your castle, and you can protect it because you have Kaiko Roofing on your side and on your roof. But don't wait for an emergency. Those other castles have been around for hundreds of years. If your roof is more than 10 years old, you really should have the trusted professionals at Kaiko give you a free roof checkup today. Flat, foam, tile, or shingles, Kaiko handles them all. From a small leak to a complete new roof, Kaiko has you covered. And when you invite Kaiko up on your roof for that free checkup, if you don't need anything done, they'll tell you. That's the kind of trust that results in half of Kaiko's business coming from referrals or repeat customers. Call 602-944-4600 or check KaikoRoofing.com for all the rest, including financing options. Kaiko Roofing, they're crazy about quality.
Hi, I'm Scott, General Manager with Whitey's Auto Repair here in South Scottsdale. We built a reputation for quality auto service and repair for over 45 years, and our customers have come to trust us for our recommendations. We value that trust, and that's why when it comes to transmissions, for the past several decades, we have been recommending Tri-City Transmission. They have yet to disappoint. I feel so strongly about it, I wouldn't go anywhere else. Why would you? Google them online today at tricitytransmission.com. Go where the pros go. Tri-City Transmission.
Are you looking for a refreshing change in customer service? I'm Lee Weatherby from Accurate Automotive. How about a refreshing change in your car repair relationship with honest, clear, and responsive service that looks out for your needs and not ours? For over 20 years, we've been delivering award-winning service provided by ASE certified technicians with one goal, looking out for your best interest. If it needs fixing, we'll tell you. If it doesn't, you'll know that too. I guarantee that you will not get that business-as-usual treatment at Accurate Automotive. Foreign and domestic, cars, trucks, and even fleet service, Accurate can handle your job. I invite you to come in and experience a refreshing difference in car repair and maintenance. Stop by for a free courtesy inspection, a $49 value. We feel it is well worth our investment in you because we know that good long-term relationships start early with your first walk through our doors. I'm Lee Weatherby, and I'll be there to greet you. Accurate Automotive, home of friends serving friends, just off Broadway and Robeson in Mesa since 1992. For more information, check us out at AccurateAutomotiveAZ.com today.
There's nothing more important than family. Hi, Kurt Rock for Kurt's Auto Repair. Family owned and operated and bumper-to-bumper radio preferred. We've been taking care of Valley families and their auto care needs with a perfect Better Business record for over 27 years. Come experience the difference our ASE Master Techs can make for you and your family at Kurt's Auto Repair. Just east of I-17 at 22nd Avenue and Bell Road, or online at mycarhurts.com. Gas or diesel, foreign or domestic. If your car hurts, take it to Kurt's.
Who can you trust here in the Valley to repair your ride? This is Bumper to Bumper Radio. KTAR News on 92.3 FM.
Catastrophic failures, Dave. That's what we were talking about earlier. What are the problems with your car that you could avoid by not ignoring that red light? Are you driving around on your Saturday, cruising around this morning, not much going on, but you have ignored, you have tuned out that red light? That's what we don't want you to do. Red lights, green lights, yellow lights, that's the caution flag.
And if something stinks, you walk in your house and you're like, what's that smell? Did you take out the trash? You got to take your car in a shop.
Someone, yeah. Yeah, if something doesn't smell right, something doesn't look right, something doesn't feel right, you want to get the car in. I'm Matt Allen. He's Dave Riccio. Every Saturday at 11, Bumper to Bumper Radio, we're here talking about cars. You have a car question, car problem, it doesn't matter. You can call us, 602-277-5827. If you're a little bit shy, 411-923. You can text. And I'm going to go ahead and take a text question right now. It is, we don't know the name, but I'll give out the phone number. How about that?
If you want to call
Mr. 602-295, he wants to know, how often should I change the transmission fluid if I use my car for work? 200 to 300 miles a day. Now, I'm going to think that there might be a difference between 200 or 300 miles a day driving around town where that transmission is shifting and maybe
all the time.
Maybe a courier service versus someone that maybe I know a guy in the Midwest that drives for a railroad and he's got to go out and pick up the engineers because they time out at a certain time. They can't drive the train anymore. So he'll have to go 300 miles to go pick somebody up.
But anyway, stop once or twice.
So, with no stops, yeah.
Yeah.
Is there a difference? And would you treat your transmission differently at Tri-City Transmission?
I would say highway miles definitely are a lot easier on the transmission fluid versus city driving miles. The other question I would ask is what kind of car. For me, I always look at, is that one of those cars that has a inherent transmission problem or it needs more maintenance, like on Honda Odysseys? You can't service that transmission enough, So I would treat that different than I might a Toyota Sienna. So there's some variance in that. So the question would be hard to answer, but general rule of thumb, you should be servicing your transmission every 2 to 3 years. If you're a 15,000 mile a year guy, if you drive more in the city, 2 years. If you drive more on the highway, 3. You're going to kind of vary depending on what kind of maintenance person you are and how long you're going to keep the vehicle. All that stuff comes into play. But The myth of the sealed transmission, not true. And the myth of the lifetime fill on the transmission, not true. These things need to be maintained more so now than ever. They didn't need as much maintenance when there was only 3 speeds or 4 speeds. But now, Mercedes-Benz has 9 speeds in the transmission.
Yeah, by the time that thing gets up to, imagine a 9-speed or even a 6-speed transmission. By the time you're in traffic and maybe you get that thing up to, you go and then you cruise at 35, then you finally make it up to 45 or 50. You slow down a little bit because someone's turning right in front of you. You speed back up and you get back up to 45 again. Now you're stopped at that red light. How many times has that transmission shifted?
Between here and the other side of town, if you go
thousands,
15 miles, 9 times by the time you're going 50 miles an hour. I mean, 9 times.
Yeah.
So these transmissions are very active, and they got to have really good fluid. So up first this segment, we're going to go with Dwayne in Mesa on a 2004 Saturn L300. How can we help you, Dwayne? You're on Bumper to Bumper Radio.
Hey, guys. It's actually my girlfriend's car, and she's put off maintenance on it for 6 years, so it's turned into a $1,000 car really quick.
Oh, time for a new girlfriend.
I have the same car in my parking lot. It's a dead soldier.
I hate the car. But my question is that we're just trying to get it through one more summer before I can get her into something else. The AC on it, the compressor went through some sort of catastrophic failure and just completely fell apart. We're not willing to put in the money for a new AC. What do you guys feel about going to a junkyard and finding like a decent compressor, and how would I go about finding
I'm a fan of
one?
I'm a fan of the 265 system, Matt.
Yeah, 2 windows, 65 miles an hour, both of them rolled down. Well, I'll tell you, Dwayne, that's the problem. How do you know it's a good compressor? And there's some recycle. It used to be called junkyards. I guess that's not politically correct anymore.
Automotive dismantler.
We want to call them dismantlers, or call it green, or call it whatever makes everybody feel good about the junkyard nowadays. But
recycler.
But oftentimes, a body panel, a door panel, some weird interior trim, a piece of steel that is a suspension part, like an axle or a spindle. But a part that wears out like an AC compressor, you just don't know. Now, and that's assuming that it needs a compressor. If you had catastrophic failure in that General Motors car, that's what that is, they used to have a thing that we call Black Death. It just pumps all that garbage through the whole system of the air conditioner, and it plugs it up, causes restrictions. You can't get it out. You've got to replace, quote, everything. Well, if that didn't happen to you, you got lucky. So now you go buy this compressor used, and then that thing has catastrophic Black Death, and now you just ruined all this other stuff. The other thing I say is if you would have wrecked your car a month ago,
they would have sold that compressor to somebody.
Fast forward Marty McFly into the future. And now you go to the junkyard or the recycler and you say, hey, I got a 2004 Saturn L300, need a compressor. Hey, lucky you. We had one of those come in just about 4 weeks ago.
Yeah, so you could invest time and money, and you could be worse off than just, you're not going to want to spend the money the first time. You're not going to want to do it the second time for sure.
That's a tough one. It might be one of those deals. I know you want to make it one more summer. Go get the car looked at. You're going to spend it.
There are some shops that'll do used compressors. It's out there and it is an option. Just know that you could spend the money and end up doing it twice. Maybe 3 times.
Or
it's not one of those jobs I favor used.
But they only want to keep it a summer. Keep your fingers crossed. Go to church tomorrow. Do what you've got to do, and maybe it'll just get you. You can get enough of a repair to get it through the summer.
Well, 265 system. Well, we've got Gary, Rex, Scott, and Mike. Let's go to Mike in Glendale on a 2015. Looks like a Outlander. How can we help you?
Hey guys, I called you a month ago about the lifter tap and all that on a brand new one with like 2,000 miles.
Oh, yeah.
Well, we took it back to the dealer. They didn't even take it inside. All the guy does is says, oh, that's the ejectors. That's what they sound like on the new cars. Wouldn't make a record of it, wouldn't do anything. So, anyway, just to let you know on that, that's what these new Mitsubishis sound like. But after we got it out of there, you guys have been talking about lights coming on. We have a blue temperature sensor light that comes on when you crank it up, and all the fluids are full on it. Yep. You know anything about these new lights, blue? When you read the book, it don't tell you anything in there.
Yeah, well, that we'll touch on a couple things here. I didn't even think about that being the injectors on the car, and you'll notice on all the new cars, you open the hood and it looks like this futuristic thing under there. It's all smooth and it's covered up with shields and such.
Veneer.
So you have veneer, so you can't see the engine. If you take off some of those engine covers, gosh, those things are heavy. They've got an inch solid, dense foam insulation on them. That's there to deaden the noise. And some of these cars do have noisy injectors. So if you want to memorialize that, I mean, you can keep track. You know when you were there in case you have a problem in the future. When it's in for its first oil change, just ask them again, can you double check? I'm a little concerned about this noise. If they tell you it's normal, say, that's fine. Would you just document that for me? It's here. And the other thing you could do while you're maybe they're waiting at the dealership for your first oil change, go out to the lot, tell the new salesman, "Gosh, I like to look at one of these. I got my old junker in there getting fixed. Man, start it up. Show me what it looks like under the hood. I want to hear what this sounds like." And if that one makes the same noise, you're probably fine.
What about his blue light?
Blue light.
It's a special.
Very blue light special. Save $2. First time I saw a blue light was on our Scion that I bought for our shop, and that just means that the engine hasn't reached operating temperature
Cool.
yet. It's just cool.
Yeah.
It's blue. Yeah.
I bet if you go in the book, there's going to be a picture of that light with that explanation.
When do you need to worry about the blue light being on, though, Dave? Do you ever have to?
I don't know.
Ooh, stumped you.
Yeah, you did. Good thing I got a fact or fiction for you today.
Well, I haven't run across this, but I mean, we do see cars that don't reach operating temperature fast enough, and that we usually check it, put on a code for a check engine light with a code for not, whatever the description is.
You talk too much, and we got 5 phone calls here.
So anyway, it could be in the future we might see these blue lights staying on too long, and if you see that after 4 or 5 minutes, you have to be wondering if your car is not up to operating temperature fast enough.
Thanks for the call, Mike. We've got Rex Tonto Basin on a 2008 Honda Civic. How can we help you, Rex? You're on Bumper to Bumper Radio.
Hey, guys, listen to you every weekend. Hey, we've got an intermittent problem with the air conditioning on this car. And it works fine, blows great, blows cold, then it'll quit.
Quit blowing?
It'll blow hot air. It doesn't quit, it blows hot air. And there's no we don't really have a rhyme or reason when that happens. And then it'll start working just fine again. And we're up here in Payson, and we've had a couple shops look at it. There's not really import techs up here, so to speak.
Mm-hmm.
We had a relay replaced in the electric box. They did some research on the internet and replaced it. But we can't simulate the problem. So
that's going to be the hardest thing is you have to, people, there's a difference. People say, "Oh, I had it in the shop, they couldn't fix it." No, it's not that we couldn't fix it. We can't fix anything until we can replicate the problem and actually have it happen for us. You could have a number of different things going on there. The first and foremost, they have to it has to be in the shop when they can push that button, and it just doesn't work.
And with it not working, I mean, the first thing a technician's going to go do is going to go to that relay. He's going to bang on the top of it.
Maybe.
See if maybe the AC turns on. He's going to bang on a pressure switch.
I might go right to the compressor clutch and see if I have 12 volts to my compressor clutch. We've seen a lot of Hondas where the coil fails on the compressor. For the electronic magnet, you could have maybe it's freezing up, or the other thing is it blowing. A lot of people say you have to discern the difference between, is it just hot air because that's what the ambient temperature is, or is it heated air? That's a big difference because we could be looking at a control issue, not a function of the air conditioning compressor issue.
So it's a lot of things. So the point is, if the shop can't see it, it's going to be really hard to diagnose it. So anyhow.
It's time for Fact or Fiction.
I know you do. So I love to play it. Hey, we had a phone call earlier on a fuel pump. I think it was on a Ford Ranger. I believe a 99 Ranger. So I think it was timely for our fact or fiction. We did this a few years ago. It's not good to run your fuel below a quarter tank, Matt. Fact or fiction?
I don't know. Mine is always below a quarter tank, so depends on what you mean by what the definition of not good is.
It's true.
If you're on a road trip from here to California and you're leaving Blythe, it's probably not a good idea to have less than a quarter tank. I don't know. I don't know if it's still fact. It used to be.
I believe it is. There's still an advantage to have the fuel pump submersed in the fuel in the fuel tank.
Yeah, because it's the electronic fuel pump hangs down in on a full tank of gas. The whole thing is buried in fuel, and the theory was that the pump all that fuel helps cool the pump, and if you don't have a bunch of fuel in there, it can't be a heat sink for it, because these systems now, they're pulse width modulated. The fuel pump's not running as much as it used to, but they're running on a duty cycle. Most of them are returnless now, where it used to be you send all this fuel up to the front of the car, and what it doesn't need comes back, and that whole process filters and cools the fuel. I don't know. We'll find out. My 2005, who oftentimes is on empty, is doing fine so far, so we'll see.
When we come back, we've got Gary, Scott, and Doug, and you're listening to Matt and Dave, your KTAR car guys, on Bumper to Bumper Radio.
Trust. It's hard to earn and sometimes even harder to find. If you live or work in downtown Phoenix, Matt Allen's Virginia Auto Service is celebrating over 20 years of award-winning service at the corner of 7th Street and Virginia. Recognized as one of the best service shops in the country, their customers have come to trust Virginia Auto Service for its A+ rating by the BBB, 2-year 24,000-mile warranties, and free transportation to and from your home or office. 20+ years of earning your trust. Virginia Auto Service. They're serious about service.
Ever wonder how the people that built those old castles kept the rain out? I don't think they did. But let's face it, your home is your castle, and you can protect it because you have Kaiko roofing on your side and on your roof. But don't wait for an emergency. Those other castles have been around for hundreds of years. If your roof is more than 10 years old, you really should have the trusted professionals at Kaiko give you a free roof checkup today. Flat, foam, tile, or shingles, Kaiko handles them all. From a small leak to a complete new roof, Kaiko has you covered. And when you invite Kaiko up on your roof for that free checkup, if you don't need anything done, they'll tell you. That's the kind of trust that results in half of Kaiko's business coming from referrals or repeat customers. Call 602-944-4600 or check KaikoRoofing.com for all the rest, including financing options. Kaiko Roofing, they're crazy about quality.
2 great golf courses, 1 convenient location. Camelback Golf Club invites you to come enjoy both this summer with a special offer. When you play the world-renowned Herds and Fry design Ambiente course, with desert landscaping and native grasses, you'll receive a bounce back for the Valley favorite Padre course with its lush, shaded fairways and immaculate greens for a special member guest rate of just $29. For information or tee times, call 480-596-7050 or visit camelbackgolf.com. Camelback Golf Club. Come play like a member.
Who can you trust here in the Valley to repair your ride? This is Bumper to Bumper Radio. KTAR News on 92.3 FM.
Welcome back to Bumper Radio. I'm Matt Allen, and Dave Riccio is here alongside of me every Saturday. And today we were going to do that in stereo. I thought, Dave, we could have a little kumbaya together, and we could both welcome everybody back. Dave and I were having a little finger pointing contest of who's gonna have to bring us back from the break. So I jumped in. Oh, again, I thought you were going to come with me, but you chickened out.
No.
Well, we've got a few phone calls to get to. Again, every Saturday we're helping you with your car. And Father's Day next weekend. Any Father's Day? Little gifts and gadgets. There's something that's really cool that I think no father should be without. They have got these new battery charger jump pack things now, and I think some lithium-ion battery. Not much bigger than what used to be the old Self. Smaller than an old Self.
I don't think that thing is cool as you talk about it.
No, it is. That can jump. I saw somebody tell me, it can jumpstart the car. I'm like, that is BS. This thing is not starting any car. This little thing. It does. They will start the car. But what's even better about it comes with all these adapters. It's a cell phone charger. A flashlight. It'll run all kinds of stuff. So pretty neat little gadgets. So don't forget about Dad.
Honey, I do not want that. Whatever you do not buy me that battery thing,
Yeah.
No, I know you think that's cool.
It is. They are cool. Dave, you're out of touch, though. See, that's the problem.
No, I'm not out of touch. Hey, there's a text here. 07 Silverado. I'm not sure what he's getting for Father's Day, if it's a he. If new upper and lower radiator hoses, should I change the thermostat as well? Thanks, Tim. It is Tim. He put his name on there. Thanks, Tim.
Oh, hey.
Upper and lower hose. Absolutely.
I would. I mean,
why would you?
Why would you replace the thermostat? Okay, well, I'm going to approach this vehicle. Here's the method behind the madness. Here's what's going on in my brain as I'm opening the hood. I'm going to want to know what's the mileage. I'm thinking this thing's probably got over 100,000 miles on it. It needs to have the coolant serviced. If we're going to change the upper and lower radiator hose, maybe we're just doing it for preventive maintenance. We're going to want to do the thermostat. That's the best way to get all the coolant out of the engine. You get the thermostat out and get all the water, all the coolant, everything you can get out. That's one reason to replace it. The other reason is it's 8 years old. It's already gone 115,000 miles. It's just good preventive maintenance.
And those things aren't highly advanced. It's a spring.
It's the same thing they were doing in 1977.
Yeah.
That'd be one reason. The other thing I would do on that truck, Tim, is make sure you put a good new radiator cap on it. Sometimes those coolant recovery bottles, they'll start to split and discolor. You want to watch out for that. Maybe it's all nasty and it has like that greasy, like foamy, dark residue in it. Take that bottle off and shake it up, clean it out. And then make sure you use distilled water and use the right coolant. Don't do a universal coolant. Stick with Dexcool on that one.
Thanks for the text. We're going to go with Gary in Peoria. He's got a 2000 Lexus LX 470. Gary, you're on Bumper to Bumper Radio. How can we help you?
Thanks, guys. Appreciate your time. I had a VSC light come on as I was going to the airport, and the wheel shook as the brakes were pulsating. Took it into the front end shop that I used, had about $2,200 worth of work done, our new rack put in, lower control arms. It really tightened the car up. Worked great for probably about 3 months. Now, periodically, as I'm going around a corner, I still get that light coming on and the audible sound. Not necessarily shaking the steering wheel, though my wife said it did the other day. I was wondering what might still be loose in there, or do I have a sensor that's going out, or wheel bearings, or...
So, go ahead, Dave.
Well, I'm thinking that you may have needed all that work. I mean, the car's got some age; he needs all that work. The vehicle stability control. I mean, there's a sensor, a yaw sensor.
Yaw
sensor.
They get those in Texas too.
And it's telling the computer which direction the vehicle is going, and it compares that to the steering angle sensor. That's how the traction control works. So VSC is vehicle stability control. So there's some sort of malfunction in that junction going on.
Yeah. Well, and you think about it, Dave, you're right. There's a steering angle sensor. There's the yaw sensor, which is going to take the centrifugal force of the G forces. It's also looking at the anti-lock wheel speed sensors.
Yeah, so he may be having an issue with some speed sensors going on there.
There is.
In the wobbly wheel, I mean, I've seen those things where the bearings get worn out, and they do. There's a lot of movement.
Yeah, but I think when he turns the wheel, maybe there's something, maybe there's a brake thing, or the engine's derating or cutting back because it thinks it's slipping or something. The other thing to think about, this front-end shop, I'm sure, did an alignment. You have to zero out the steering angle sensor or recalibrate that. The days of going in and getting a $39 or $59 alignment, they were never really real in the first place, but they're long over because it takes too much time to do an alignment like that. It takes computers now. There's the mechanical part of the alignment, and then you've got to hook up the computer and let it know everything and recalibrate the car. So that could be an issue. Maybe if you've changed tire size or wheel size. But inevitably, that VSC is set of code problem.
Yeah, so they're going to plug into it, and there's going to be whether it be a steering angle sensor or a wheel speed sensor, there's going to be some sort of message or thumbprint left behind for the technician to go with. So anyway, we've got maybe time for one more Doug, and then we're going to sneak in Scott after the air. So
okay,
Doug
Doug's
in Peoria.
first. We're going to make him fast. Go, Doug.
Hey, thanks for taking my call, guys. I've got a troubleshooting-related question. I've got a speed-related hum or whine or noise. I don't think it's tire-related, but I'm just trying to figure out how I can troubleshoot, whether it's drive shaft, whether it's ring and pinion, something like that, without just having to start replacing parts until the noise goes away.
That's always the most effective way to do that. No, actually, no. If I hear the noise, as long as it's related to road speed, so the faster I go, the noise is louder. Is it that kind of thing?
Well, it's higher pitched.
Higher pitch. So I'm thinking about a differential bearing, kind of common, F-150, but you got wheel bearings in there as well. How many miles are on that truck?
55,000.
Still pretty young for that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
but,
and it almost sounds like a carrier bearing too, but I just can't isolate the sound.
Well, the wheel bearing thing you would change by shifting the truck. If I was driving it, I would swerve the truck left to right to see if that changed the noise, and that's going to
It does not.
It does not change. So I'm not really looking that way as far as wheel bearings. I might be thinking about the carrier bearing on the drive shaft if there is one.
Center support bearing.
Center
right.
support bearing. You know, those are some of the things I'd be going at. But, I mean, it could happen that you need a differential bearing at 55,000 miles.
Noises are always one of those fun, as I put my fingers up in parentheses. They can be challenging. You've got to get in the car, you've got to drive it with the customer, and then everybody has to hear it and agree that we're fixing the same thing. So next weekend, Father's Day, enjoy, have a fantastic week. We'll see you next time.
Hi, Lisa Henry with Russ Lyon Sotheby's International Realty. Have you been thinking maybe the time is right to move, but you're not sure if you have enough equity in your home or if it really is a good time? Well, home values have increased significantly over the past few years, and interest rates are still historically low. For how long? No one knows. But for every 1% increase in the interest rate, the result is about a 10% loss in purchasing power. So it might be a really great time to sell your home and either upsize or downsize to a new home while the interest rates are still low. Contact me via my website at lisareneehenry.com or direct at 480-330-9530 for a no-obligation market valuation on your home and to hear about our global online marketing plan designed to sell your home quickly for top dollar. Again, that's lisareneehenry.com, 480-330-9530. Come experience the difference a truly customer-focused real estate agent can make.
Hi, I'm Scott, General Manager with Whitey's Auto Repair here in South Scottsdale. We built a reputation for quality auto service and repair for over 45 years, and our customers have come to trust us for our recommendations. We value that trust, and that's why when it comes to transmissions, for the past several decades, we have been recommending Tri-City Transmission. They have yet to disappoint. I feel so strongly about it, I wouldn't go anywhere else. Why would you? Google them online today at tricitytransmission.com. Go where the pros go. Tri-City Transmission.
Join us for everything automotive on Bumper to Bumper Radio with Dave Riccio and Matt Allen, the KTAR Car Guys, every Saturday 11 to noon on KTAR News, 92.3 FM.
Spring is here, but big bad summer's just around the corner. Join us this Saturday for the top 10 tips to prepare your car for the heat.
And remember, 24/7, there's bumpertobumperradio.com. It's a must for the best car repair and body shops you can trust. Drive in anxious, cruise out feeling fine with Bumper to Bumper.